Hey kids, it's JJ again. I have a new build I wanted to share with you. I haven't even flown it yet. It is an 80 millimeter brushless quad. Check that dude out. If you like building ships and bottles, this thing's awesome. Uh, Basically what we've got is an 80 millimeter frame. That's 80 mil from hole to hole. We're using gem fan. What are these dudes? These are your standard 2035s. Is that right? Something like that. Your standard gem fans. A 25, 100, 200 switchable milliwatt VTX, all in one. Put a micro beeper on the back. 10,000 kV Racer Star 1103s. I'll just give you an idea of how small this guy is. Did my heat shrink trick with hot glue. There's actually hot glue inside of this antenna. That way when it crashes, it has more of a rubber to it. Stick some hot glue around it, then slide the heat shrink over it, and it shrinks around it. It's a really good trick. Never broken antenna yet. This will run off of 2S and 3S batteries, so we'll see how that goes. I did have to modify a little bit. You can see my antennas right here, wrapped around in there. My receiver is actually between the flight controller and the ESC, right in there. You can't even see it. These are running 12 amp ESC. This is actually the Fly Color SP Racing flight controller and 12 amp ESC. I'll do a review on this later. I'm going to do another build with that. So it is an F3 SP Racing. The ESC is a 12 amp running D-Shot 6S. It does have OSD, but it's a power distribution board OSD. I don't even have it hooked up to this particular camera. I don't care. I just have it on a voltage beeper. It's good enough. This is such a tiny quad. I don't really need OSD on it. Let's see, what else can I say about this? I did have to modify it. I put bumpers on the front motors only, not the rears, because the odds are you're going to crash this way. I did have to lift the motors because you can see I use metal screws and little nuts underneath, and that was because the flight controller the boards didn't go together close enough, so it was too high, and the props, look at the clearance on that, woo! The props actually hit the corners of the board, and there's really no way to get it shorter because the board interconnects with DIN pins right here. You can't see them, and so it only goes to a certain length with the DINs as far as depth goes. So I did lift kit those motors up a little bit. They should be fine. These tiny little dudes should rock and roll. So I put basically little M2 nuts in between the motor and the frame. The frame is a U-Smile. I got it off of, and so is the camera actually, off of Amazon. The rest of it I got off Banggood. And it looks like a pretty nice little frame. At first, when I got it, I'm like, yeah, this is hokey, it's gonna break. 2.6 mil. I did also lift the camera pod a little bit because it was hitting the USB input here. That is the drawback. I couldn't put, because of this flight controller, I mean, I could have switched it around, I suppose, but putting this in the back hit the input cables. So I put it facing forward, which is fine. You do have to remove this bar to get into, to put your jack in there, which is kind of a pain in the ass, but it's not the end of the world. Let's see, what else did I do to this thing? Conformal coated it, obviously. It got the beeper. That's about it. Let's see what it weighs. All in, my scale that nobody can see, 56 grams. So I don't think you could have made it much lighter than this. I could have left the guards off, but yeah, these are pretty fragile little motors. I'll do a review on those two later. Those are the Racer Star 1103 10,000s. I have a whole other build. I'm going to build a Toad, I think. And this will actually run off of 3S and 2S. So running a 2S ADC with D-Shot 600, should be pretty sweet. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and fire this up, and we're going to see what happens. I'll keep shining side up. Let's see how she flies.